because you took some ridiculous chances, then I think you've committed some egregious transgression.
Aside from the ways you've mentioned, how has the publication of your book affected your life?
I think I've sort of accepted that that details of my life that are, messy or inconvenient or that sort of don't fit the resume as tidily as I might want, are not things to try to hide or be ashamed of. That you just sort of are what you are, and all the byproducts, good and bad, are just a function of leading a full life. So I think I've become a little bit more open and less hidden in some ways.
Any repercussions from all the people you wrote about?
Oddly, not really. There's a couple people. Well, first of all, even though my book is, absolutely the unvarnished truth, and every name in there is the actual name of the person, and every place and every situation and setting is exactly as how I lived it. My book isn't about pointing fingers and settling scores. I'm not like calling people out. I'm not. There's no effort to really embarrass people. But that said, there are people who sort of cross me in my journey, and who become part of my story. And there's a couple who are sort of are the villains of the story, and I presume that they thought I was an ass before I wrote the book, and nothing in my book was going to really change the way they felt about that. The people who are closer to me, I reviewed what was in that book with every single one of them, whether that was my ex-wife Reinelda, or Carmen, who I had the relationship with for 3.5 years, or Max, or my friends and neighbors Todd and Chris. I mean, I sat down with them and went over everything that was going to be in there, not necessarily for their approval, but those were relationships that I wasn't trying to do any harm, and part of it was kind of preparing them for becoming, sort of being outed, having their lives be as public as mine. And I could be wrong, and it could change. It could change tonight when I pull into my driveway. But as of now, the reaction, where I live in Monterey Park has been, I think a little bit of disbelief, like, I can't believe you really laid it all out there. But the people who know the story know that it's true, and know that it's an accurate reflection of what we all lived. And I think I've been given a little bit of leeway because of that accuracy.
Are most of your friends writers? My Monterey Park friends aren't writers, and those are friends that grew out of our sports leagues, and I cherish those friendships. And they're very natural, kind of organic and convenient. They're people who are close to me. But sort sort of outside of the place I live, kind of my bigger public and professional life, they're almost all writers, and they're almost all unemployed.
That's what I was wondering. How much hope do you have for the newspaper as a business proposition?
I don't have tremendous hope for a printed product as a business proposition, but I have hope for journalism as a business proposition. I think I cross my fingers that it will continue to evolve, and a new economic model will grow out of our computers or our iPhones or our iPads or our Kindles, or that the stories will get to us. I believe there is a timeless and primal hunger for stories, for storytellers who can who we peek over their shoulders vicariously, because they go and do the things and have the adventures and ask the questions that the rest of us don't get to do because of our daily routines, or because we're praying 3 times a day, and it will find a way. But I mean, I have the deepest sentimental attachments to print journalism, even to the LA Times. I get the LA Times. I subscribe to the LA Times. I stumble out into my driveway in my boxer shorts at about 6 a.m. every morning, and I pick it up out of my driveway and I bring it inside and I pour a cup of coffee and I open it up, and I love it, and I won't stop doing it as long as it arrives. But you have to admit, it's an incredibly inefficient way to deliver information. From the putting of ink onto paper to somebody actually like getting in their car and driving around my neighborhood, physically putting it in my driveway when it already it's been existing in my computer terminal for hours already. It really makes no sense. Sadly, I fear that it sort of needs to it needs to die off before the new the new digital version can truly take hold and also charge sufficient ad rates to pay salaries.
What do you want most from your son, Max?
I want him just as my parents wanted for me. I want him to feel absolutely free to make any decision that is right for him. I want him to be able to face his future without feeling like I'm dictating it.
What do you love and hate about growing older?
What is older exactly?
Oh, older than you were yesterday.
If you're a dude, it's a little easier than if you're a female. My hair's getting pretty gray, and that doesn't seem to be a hindrance of any kind. And I'm getting wrinkles around my eyes that I think convey wisdom. I think as you get older, you hopefully have a clearer idea of what you want and what you need.